Hello, world. Hello, Ugandans. Most of us talk about personal growth, but we actually don't take the steps to grow. Today, we have a very important guest to talk us through an important conversation that will change your life. If you're like me and you want to be in a better space in the next few years, this is the space to be. So join me in welcoming our guest this afternoon or this day, Mr. Alex Mwine. You're welcome.
Thank you, Adele.
How are you today?
Very well. Alive and kicking.
That's amazing. Kindly introduce yourself.
Alex Mwine is my name. I'm a married man with 2 children, a boy and a girl,
Yes.
but married to a wife.
That's very
To a
important.
woman, sorry.
Okay. So tell me about with Love Uganda. You know that you're vision bearer. Just take us through that a bit.
Oh, yes. This is an idea that I got on the 27th of September, 2017. I'll never forget that day.
Okay.
Yeah, so we decided to call it with Love Uganda. Why with Love Uganda? We said the time has come for us as Ugandans to be part of the solution. Because you see, our economy is not doing well. Those in business are struggling. The ones in employment and very little pay, there's too much demand on that one little salary.
That's true.
Then you struggle to take children through school. You've been through school yourself. Schools are now expensive. You want the very best for your child. But finding employment after university is also another challenge.
Yeah.
But now, as with Love Uganda, we're saying we cannot keep complaining because complaining does not solve the problem. Neither we're going to keep blaming the government, blaming our leaders, blaming our president, blaming the people that colonized us. It is time to be part of the solution. So in With Love Uganda, we say it starts with you and I. So we came up with the simplest of solutions that we called the 10,000 project.
And so before we get to the 10,000 project,
Yes.
which I think will be exciting to expound on, I would like to understand every big vision has a story.
Absolutely.
So what's the story? Why with Love Uganda?
Brilliant. Good question. So, you see, I've always asked myself in my earlier years of growing up, wondering why a country that is so blessed, you throw beans on the roadside and tomorrow it's food, you know? A country that has moderate temperatures. I've always told people from when I was younger that I think the Garden of Eden was actually in Uganda.
We are the part of Africa.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, and the person who named it Huntington never made a mistake. So I've always wondered why such a blessed and beautiful country, but yet so poor. But that is a replica. You can relate that to the rest of the African countries. And yet, when you travel, you see now people are running to the US, Canada, all around the world. You realize they're not as blessed as we are. So I've always asked myself the question of why are we poor and yet we are so blessed? And why are these people with so harsh conditions of living? They have extreme weather. It's either too cold or
Too
too
hot.
hot. Yes. They have very, very few months. In fact, you can call them days of good weather, of mild temperatures. And they actually celebrate these days, you know. Yet for us, it's January to 31st December.
We are thriving.
Thank you very much. So I've always asked myself
Yes.
until I realized that our blessing is what we are taking for granted. We're not being good stewards of the beautiful country and continent that God has given us. So I started thinking, so I started wondering at my younger age, wondering why? Because I realized I can wake up and come to Adele's home and have a meal and you won't charge me for it.
That's true.
And I'll have a good meal. Or I will be leaving and then you go to your garden, pick a jackfruit.
And give it to you.
Fene, exactly.
Yes.
And I could actually go to the neighbor's garden and pick fene, pick a mango, and I eat, and I'll go home satisfied.
That's true.
So those are the things that have actually now made us lazy. So I realized this at a younger age. And then I said, oh, God has blessed us so much. We are spoiled children.
We have felt take responsibility because we have so much going on.
Absolutely. But
Okay.
there's a big risk
Yeah.
to that, because once we take what we have for granted, we're bound to lose it.
That's true.
That's a given rule. So that's how I thought. I said, you know what? What can we do as Ugandans, as Africans, to actually start realizing, first of all, take good stewardship of our country, and then take good stewardship of ourselves. That's why we called it with Love Uganda.
So the name with Love Uganda resonates with the love you have for your country.
Absolutely.
But also, if you love your country, you have to love yourself.
Absolutely.
But you could have chosen to leave it an Alex Mwine project. Why make it a with Love Uganda project? Because I want to understand that spirit of where you're coming from. You could have chosen to say, I want to change my world as Alex. Why Uganda?
Good question. You see, as an individual, you will always be limited. You will always be limited. However intelligent, however wealthy, however smart, however rich you are, you will always be limited. There is a power, there's a magic in the numbers. So, but also, you can never flourish in a space that you don't love.
That's true.
So you have to first love yourself, love your neighbor, love your country. Now, there's a lot of magic in understanding those statements. Love yourself, love your neighbor, and love your country.
You will always wish each other or the other people around you well.
Absolutely.
And so that's your motivation.
Absolutely.
Amazing. And that takes me into the 10K project, because what you're speaking about is a power of numbers that literally speaks into the 10K project. What is this 10K project? Let's start there. I want to understand it as well, because the questions are many. And you've been having this crusade. I'll call it a crusade. Talking to everyone you meet about 10K project, it's high time we expounded on it. What is the 10K project?
Good question. So the 10,000 project is in direct relation to the 10,000 Ugandan shilling denomination.
Okay.
Yeah. So I picked one of the least denominations in our country. It's just 10,000. It's not even breakfast in Kampala.
How much is it in dollars?
Just
About-
$3. Just
Okay.
about $3.
Okay.
Yeah. So actually, all around the world, $3 doesn't mean much. You know, even in it doesn't mean much. So, but for Ugandan, for the case of Uganda, I picked the least denomination that every caring Ugandan that wants to see a better day tomorrow can afford. Yeah. But still, the magic is in the numbers. So the 10,000, we're also looking to give value to our shilling. Yeah. But we can only do that collectively. So I had to think and said, you know what? Let me pick one of the list of some of the smallest denominations that we have in our economy that every Ugandan can afford, and then mobilize a minimum of 1 million Ugandans, each of us who can afford, and so many. By the way, 10,000, you can leave it with your child. You can leave it with your child when go and buy either biscuits or something,
Yeah.
you know. So I chose that, and then realized that once we do the math, each of us coming together with that 10,000 shilling, with a minimum of a million Ugandans. So our target is 1 million Ugandans.
Okay, I was going to take you to that.
Yes.
Because you mentioned 1 million Ugandans. I'm a Ugandan. I have lived here all my life. And I'm thinking, how are you going to mobilize the 1 million Ugandans? Because I've seen that in a political space. And I'm going to ask you, are you a politician?
Good question. I've never been.
Do you plan to be a politician?
I don't think I'll ever be a politician. I don't aspire. I have no plans of being a politician.
So it's important we clear that air, because
Absolutely.
to mobilize that big number of Ugandans, there's a lot of power you need to possess. And to possess that power, there are many questions that will come up stating whether you're a politician or not, because that puts this project into another limelight.
Absolutely.
So speaking about the 1 million Ugandans, why 1 million? Why not 100,000? Why not 500,000?
Good question. And in fact, in the beginning, Remember, we launched in 2018 of
Yes.
June. So fast forward 2025, we're celebrating the 7th anniversary in June to begin our 8th year journey. In the beginning, it was tough to get even to the first 200 members. But people kept saying, why 10,000? The question was asked, why don't we double it? Or why don't we in fact quadruple and make it 100,000, 200,000?
Because most Ugandans could actually afford 50,000, 20, or 100, so we can get to the dream faster.
Absolutely.
Just thinking.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But the vision and mind behind with Love Uganda is to create opportunities that go beyond just a few people. We are looking to transform not just Uganda, but Africa. So the magic that is in the 10 billion, when you do the mathematics, the 10 billion per month and 120 billion a year is incredible. But why the 10,000 denomination is to give an opportunity to even a student who thinks beyond university, who actually wants to create an opportunity for themselves 5 years, 10 years after university. So that is the kind of mind behind with Love Uganda.
I was actually having a conversation earlier, and we're talking about the new generation, the young generation, the one that is not thinking of what the world the next 5 years could look like. And this for me speaks into that even my youngest son can actually partake in this 10,000, because as a parent, I couldn't afford to put aside 20,000 shillings. But then I'm going to ask you, there are so many circles around us. I'll tell you this, in Uganda, we have so many circles, so many merry-go-rounds where I can combine with my friends and we collect money and achieve whatever we want to achieve at a later stage. Here we are, 10,000 on a lower end. Why don't I just put that money in a circle and I get some profit at the end of the day?
Good question. Good question. To answer it as well, and why the 10,000, I'm going to combine it with the first question, the previous one, is you see also our demographic. Good enough, we just had a census last year. And it says that 50% of our age bracket is of the working population. 55% of the working population is between the age of 16 to, I think, 45. But also the biggest percentage is the young people.
Okay.
So we were trying to create an organization that is going to create opportunities for us short-term, long-term, 100 years, even when we are no longer here.
So we are building for generations.
Absolutely.
Is this an investment? Is it a savings club? What is this, Alex? I'm trying to make sure we put out different thinkings and myths around this project. Is this an investment venture?
Good. Yes, it's an investment venture, but a collective investment venture. So we are pulling capital together as Ugandans to be able to create opportunities for ourselves. How do you create opportunities? By investing. It is the only way.
That's true. You make money, you maintain money, and then you must multiply the money.
Brilliant.
And so this is how this journey is going to look like. You confirm?
Yes.
Let's move faster into the phase of 1 million. Let's assume you get the 1 million Ugandans. An assumption that you have gotten the 1 million Ugandans. Then what? What are you using the money for?
Good question. So we want to invest in our own economy. Want to invest in all sectors, but our priority right now are two. That is health and housing. Now, in the health sector, we want to invest in a state-of-the-art hospital. We fully furnish it and equip it with anything and everything that has ever been invented in the medical field. Now, of course, on top of bringing down the cost of medication, this hospital, we are looking for it to create opportunities, both employment and business opportunities for members who are contributing this 10,000.
Alex, why didn't you go to donors with this brilliant idea? Get money from donors, set up this hospital. Why are you involving us as Ugandans? Because I don't see why we should partake in this when you can actually take this masterpiece idea to a very good donor and you get money?
Brilliant. I love the question. Now, I'll tell you, Adele, that is one of our biggest challenges as Africa. Aid. Aid has killed us. Aid has made us lame. Aid has failed us to think outside the box. In fact, I'm one of the biggest advocates of stopping aid completely.
You want us to collapse?
You know,
as a nation? Because do you know the debt we're in right now?
I understand. I know it.
But it's what has sustained the country at the moment. But why not that approach for you with Love Uganda?
You see, we need to start taking charge of our own problems, starting to critically think of how best to get out of particular situations. A human being is a resilient one. But until you're pushed to think maybe to a corner or to a wall, you start thinking, how do I help myself? Yeah. So what was the question again?
The aid.
The aid, yes.
Into Love Uganda. Yes. Why not take that approach and not just leave us alone as Ugandans?
Brilliant. So with Love Uganda, we're not just collecting the 10,000 just to invest. It's also about mindset change. We need to take charge of our problems and find solutions, practical solutions, affordable solutions that we can all engage in to solve the problem. So we cannot keep running to the donors. You know, it's like when you're at home and you always have a beggar who keeps coming to you.
Yes.
It's draining. The first time you will actually help with a smile. Mm-hmm. The second time the smile will reduce a little. The third time you'll start avoiding this person.
Maybe it's also a way of control, but I hear what you're saying. So now you get this money.
Yes.
We are building a journey because I'm trying to understand what you're selling to Ugandans. Because until we understand the basics of this, we will not get what we want to get as a team. Yes. So I'm thinking, you have gotten this women Ugandans. They have trusted you with their 10,000. The hospital has started. Then what?
Good. Good question. So you see, let me also answer this. The 10,000, when people make that contribution every month, they have ownership. They want to know. That is part of mindset change. They start taking charge and wanting to have interest.
Accountability.
Very good. Accountability. So that is the mindset change part. But also, after we do this hospital, like you said, then what? Like I mentioned earlier, I want to do housing. We're starting with 2 projects, health and housing. Then after those 2, we're going to invest in there's a lot of opportunities in this country. After this country, look at Africa. In fact, I'm looking at Uganda, East Africa, and Africa.
Okay. Let's move backwards again. We are moving so fast and we want to get this hospital gist very well.
Yes.
So we've put up this hospital. I'm sure that before you even came up with an idea of a hospital, there were scenarios around you that informed that mindset. I know that we're in a space where if someone gets really critically ill, it's going to be very difficult to sustain that bill in outside countries.
Very true.
That could be one of the mindsets. I'm not sure. You will clarify. But where are we now? Where is with Love Uganda now? Are you making progress in that project or not?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Maybe it also just mention what you said, why the hospital. World Bank did a statistic in 2015 and realized that Africa in total was exporting more than $1 billion in medical tourism. $1 billion annually.
Us moving to go get treatment.
Very good.
$1 billion.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, Ministry of Health did the same survey in 2014 and realized that Uganda is exporting more than $73 million in medical tourism. Now, I can comfortably say that the value has gone almost double. Why? Because our economy now is bigger than it was in 2014.
That's true.
So, of course, the bigger the economy, the more people have money, the more people want better things, the more people start going abroad for medical tourism and treatment. Now, what informs with Love Uganda and why I had to think of the hospital first is, personally, I thought about myself. I don't know how to beg. I don't beg.
We'll
You know?
we'll do a car wash for you.
Exactly. Now,
Yeah.
I thought about when I started to grow and I was at university and I'm saying, wait, people are asking, contribute $100. I have a friend personally that we had to each contribute $100. We did a car wash for him to go to India. Now I said, I cannot do that as many, Alex. What is going to happen if I don't have the money? I'm going to die.
That's true.
You know?
Many have.
Absolutely. So I said, no. This has to change. Not just for me, but for all Ugandans. So that's when I thought and said, if we start with the hospital, we are able to solve the problem.
So let's answer this question.
Yes.
To be a member of With Love Uganda, that's the umbrella project.
Absolutely.
You must buy into the vision of the hospital.
Absolutely, 110%.
That should be the motivating factor to join With Love Uganda.
True.
Okay, so this hospital, progress. You've said you've been launched for how many years? You're celebrating 7th year?
Yes.
What is there to show?
Good question. So as we speak right now, I am more than proud to say that we have already secured 50 acres of land for our hospital. We had first bought 7 acres in Busika, that is in 2021, but then we realized it's not the size that we want for the state of the art that we were looking for. So we had to look longer and look a little harder, and we found land in Zirowe, and it's only 36.6 kilometers from the Gaza.
You're that specific.
Yes.
Okay, so the hospital in Zirowe.
Yes.
So you want to bring the medical tourism to Uganda?
Absolutely.
Because every time there is such a state-of-the-art structure, you're bringing so much around that space itself, but also the country.
Sure.
Okay, so now there's land in Zirowe for the hospital.
Yes.
What are we doing now?
So now as we speak, we just constituted the hospital project committee. So we have a committee that is going to oversee from scratch. Now that we have land, they're going to plan the hospital from detail, or rather to the detail. So we are looking that we're actually starting at our AGM, which is next month of February. We're looking to announce the works of the hospital project. So we're starting the hospital project this year.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this, With Love Uganda is not playing. That's what I'm hearing from Alex. And because there's that commitment, this is your time to listen carefully. The hospital is one of the big things you're trying to achieve, and the umbrella. So for you to be a member, this is the first space you buy into. But then you talked about housing. Let's talk about housing. I have been in spaces where everything we talk about is how rental fee has gone so high because the economies of scale and the cost of living is also going high. And I think at the beginning of this year, there was a publication that as Ugandans, we are born to rent, literally. And when you do the math, it's actually true. So how do we get out of this bondage? Is this what informed that conversation, or it came actually earlier?
That statement, actually, I saw it in one of the headlines, but it was a sad statement. But what encouraged me and what gave me the hope was we had already started with Love Uganda.
Okay.
And we had the solution. So that was the best.
And that's what we are looking for. I am very attentive as well because I'm looking for housing too. I'm sure that my children, as they grow up also, they need to be prepared. And if you're a mother like me out there, I think it's time to think about the future. Good. So what does this housing project look like?
Good. I'll start off by saying that Habitat for Humanity did a survey and realized that Uganda, we're in a deficit of 2 million houses. 2 million. And out of the 2 million, the already existing 900,000 of those needed rehabilitation. Okay. So fast forward, our first 2 projects as with Love Uganda are to health and housing. So, and I'm also very excited to inform you that we've already begun on the housing project as well.
Are you playing?
No, not at all.
Are you joking with us, Ugandans? Are you hearing this? Are you joking with us?
We are
looking at hospital and housing running concurrently?
Absolutely, yes. Yes.
What magic is that?
Good question. So, what informed the housing to bring it fast forward?
Yeah.
When we were beginning, we were saying we're going to start with health and housing, but first health. Yes. But the first 2 years were very difficult.
Yeah.
Ugandans' hands have been burnt, people have been scammed, including myself. Yeah. And people are saying this 10,000, we give it, and then someone disappears with the money. So it was a bit tough. Fast forward, like I mentioned, 2021, we had only bought 7 acres of land. We had reached just about 120 million stuttering. We were at 10,000. But in inception, 2018, we had set a target of 8 years, which was 2026. And at that point, we wanted to be a minimum of 500,000 Ugandans. I'll shock you, when we launched, there were only 27 members in the room.
I was about to ask that because the goals that you had set,
Yes.
it seems like you said when you're like almost 100 plus people.
Nothing, only 27, including the baby that is in that picture. So only 27. So fast forward, when we moved to 2021, 4 years into existence, the target we had set of 2026 was so far from it, not even close. But the cries that we're hearing, the voices that we're hearing were already from the existing members. Many were saying, why don't we start with housing? Why don't we start with housing? It will help attract people to join with Love Uganda. But that being said, we're also running a risk of member fatigue.
That's true.
Yeah. The ones that had started with us, the ones that had believed in the vision, it's 4 years down the road. We're not even halfway, not even a quarter. So we had me and the people that I'm working with, the members that I'm working with, we had to sit down and think outside the box. What can we do that can bring believability, bring trust? Because yes, we know our hands have been burnt, but like I keep saying, we cannot allow that to define us. When you actually sit down to think, in 10 Ugandans, you can trust 8 Ugandans.
Can you?
Yes.
Okay.
But like it's always said, the two eggs spoil the basket. Mm-hmm. Is that what is always said? So the 2 eggs will make the rest of
people look bad. Absolutely. Because people have been scammed, Alex.
Thank you.
And that's the biggest question. Aren't you guys taking our 10,000 and going to scam us? That's okay. We shall talk about those different elements. Let's zero down on this project, the housing project, because it's so close to the hearts of most Ugandans. We would love to own housing, affordable housing, not just housing, but it has to be affordable.
True.
And so for me, when you speak about this, it speaks to my emotions. This housing project, have you made any strides? And how does this feed into the 10K project?
Good question. So, like I was saying, when we came to half the target we had set, 2021, we're only 860 members. Yeah. And we're far from the target we had set. So we had to think outside the box and say, what can we do to bring members, Ugandans, to join us to be able to push and achieve what we're looking to achieve? So, and we already had the housing in play. We had said we're going to start with health and housing. So, and members were already saying, why don't we start with housing? Why don't we start with housing? So we said, you know what? Like you've mentioned, the housing need is big. People want shelter before they think of going to the hospital.
That's true.
Yeah. They want to know that I can sleep and wake up, So we now said, let's start the housing project as well. This time it may not be as we had planned that the 10,000 shillings will fund the housing, but we can ride on the magic of the numbers, on the power of the numbers that we keep talking about as with Love Uganda, to achieve the housing as well, while we achieve the hospital. How? So now I'll first tell you, we did a test run, like a proof of concept of sorts, to try before we do the fully fledged amplified housing that we want. Let's first try a smaller project, a sample space, to see whether it will actually give us what we are looking for. Fast forward, so Zero Away, where we're going to put the hospital, was 120 acres of land.
Okay.
Yes. So we secured 50 for the hospital. And then the rest of the 70, we did an estate. We did a subdivision, and we're offering an opportunity to members strictly, but also making sure that we are giving an opportunity to the rest of the Ugandans. Whoever wants a piece of what we're offering, us to join with Love Uganda.
Hey, you're giving us a carrot. A carrot to join the bigger umbrella. Alex, you're very smart, but also very... Okay, fine. I heard the carrot was the land.
Yes, the carrot was the land. But in doing this, we wanted to demonstrate to Ugandans the power of numbers, what it means for us to come together with one goal in mind, what we are able to achieve, all of us collectively. So, do you know how much we're selling a plot of land in Zero?
How much? Because I know that the value of land now, it's a bit high.
Very good. For a 50 by 100, we're only selling 2 million shillings with the land title, moreover.
No. That's not true.
Exactly.
2 million shillings?
Yes.
With a land title? A 50 by 100.
Yes. Now, but yet the owner of the land wanted to sell his parcel as a whole.
Okay.
And for him, he was looking for 2 billion shillings.
Okay.
Yes.
Do the math for me. Good. How does that make sense?
So let me demonstrate for you what I demonstrated to the vendor of Zero at the time.
Yes.
So and this is why we're able to give members that opportunity to get a plot at only 2 million. So I sat down the vendor and said, look, with Love Uganda, this is the vision, this is the mission, this is how we do things. We want to demonstrate to Ugandans what it means for us to come together. Give me an opportunity, just 2 months, to mobilize members. They're already existing. At that point, we're about 860 staggering. They're already existing for each to get a plot of land at 2 million. He said it made a lot of sense. 2 million Ugandans, do the math, getting 2 billion becomes a piece of cake.
That's true.
Yeah. So he gave me the opportunity. We got the surveyors, did the work. Then I came back to the members and said, guys, this is what we're going to do. For the least unit of plot offered in Zero Way to a member is 2 million shillings. Remember, with Love Uganda, we're not driven by us. Let's say me, the vision bearer. I'm not looking to benefit profits and all that. No, it's not a real estate company.
Are you a broker?
Good question. We pride in saying that we are in the solution business.
Okay, great.
Yes, everything solutions. So I came to the members and said, guys, whoever wants a plot of land, it's just 2 million shillings. I can assure you, of course, the people who first had who are not members of the Love
Uganda. But if you're lying,
they have finished it. They've been taking you 10,000 already.
Now they're taking you 2 million.
Very good.
Yes.
And of course, at that point, we never had land titles to show because we didn't have the 2 billion to buy the entire land. Yes. So we came to the members and said, guys, we can do this. This is what it's going to take. Now, the members that were already members of Love Uganda, because they see how us in management are running the fund, the already existing 10,000 shillings, they had a lot of trust. Their hearts were comfortable because we didn't have land titles to give, but we could take them to the land to see that this is the land we want to buy. So those members, without doubt, without requesting for anything, started putting that money away. Saying, no, I'm buying 2 plots, I'm buying 10 plots, I'm buying an acre, I'm buying this and this. And an acre was going for only 16 million, a price you can never get even now in Zero.
That's true.
Even in 2022. Now, this project of Zero was 2022. So, and a 50 by 100 then in Zero was going for about, if it's a friend, relative selling to you, you're at 6 million. In 2022, 6 million, a plot of 50 by 100. We were selling it at 2 million. So members flocked. So already the existing members were excited. They said, this is nothing has ever, it's as good as it hasn't happened before. Yeah. So they came in, they bought, they told their relatives, friends, anyone who cared to listen, and people joined. or rather people bought land. As I speak right now, all the members who bought in Zimbabwe have land titles transferred to their names. We even took it a notch higher when we were doing the process of transfer. We were charging members for 50 by 100. We started by charging them only 450,000
For land transfer?
for land transfer.
Only in this country?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Then for 100 by 100, we were charging only 500,000. Like you said, never had and not been had.
That's unbelievable.
But you see, the power of numbers, the beauty of us coming together, we come with different skill sets. We come with different professions. That is where with Love Uganda, the mind behind with Love Uganda, so that we give opportunity to ourselves where we individually benefit.
I'm beginning to get even more benefits than just the housing, than just a hospital. Because what you're saying right now is that once you get these people together, they have different classifications.
Brilliant.
That make them unique,
Very good.
which makes with Love Uganda valuable.
100, I love that you've seen the picture.
Because if I have every profession and everything in one space, I am more powerful.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
That's the goal.
Brilliant. That is with Love Uganda.
That's magic.
Yes.
That's magic. That's absolute magic. I'm looking at it because I'm a personal growth coach.
Yes.
And I'm looking at it in those lenses.
Brilliant.
That if I have different pieces of people, different pieces of minds in one pot, the magic you can do is unbelievable.
Absolutely. And I'll give you an example. I love the fact that you've seen the entire.
Yes, I have.
I'll give you an example. We have a member in the diaspora in the UK. I'd never met him, but we had spoken a lot. With Love Uganda has given me the opportunity to make so many friends, both those that I've seen and those that I've never met, you know. And it's really exciting. It's very humbling at the same time. So he was in the UK, had sent money to the family here through one of the banks in Uganda, and the money was not reflecting. His end, they're telling him, no, we sent the money. Here locally in Uganda, the money is not reflecting on the account. So he was frustrated a little bit. So he calls me on WhatsApp and says, Alex, don't we have someone? This is what is happening. Don't we have someone that you know in with Love Uganda who can help me, who works with this bank? I also didn't know. What I did, I told him, you know what, let me just go on the group. I messaged on the group and said, members, do you have anyone working in this bank? I have a member who is stranded. I can assure you, he was helped in less than 2 hours and the money reflected.
The one thing I know about the world where we are headed, and this is to everyone, besides with Love Uganda, is that if you don't build relationships, there's going to be a problem.
Absolutely.
So if I have a space, like with Love Uganda, where I have all these different relationships being in one corner,
absolutely.
Unbelievable.
So
unbelievable. Good. So how does that, you're now trying to buy me into this. Yeah. I'm beginning to think like a person who's watching now because it's making so much sense. So the Zero project is successful. Yes. Did it get us there was a Love Uganda guys, did it get you guys new members?
Brilliant. So like I mentioned, it was a proof of concept, and I can assure you it was a big success.
Okay.
So we managed to get out of the 120 acres, we managed to get 350 new members. Not all bought land. It was just about 117 that bought land because some members bought bigger than just 50 by 100. But the other crowd that joined with Love Uganda saw the magic, understood what we're doing. And they said, you know what, at the next opportunity, I don't want to miss out.
So they trusted.
Absolutely.
Because one of the things I want to talk about is a trust element. We have had a hard time trusting different spaces, different organizations, and different initiatives that have come up. Because you go there with such a beautiful story and we'll buy into it. By the way, Ugandans, we like development.
True.
We like to be better. We're just looking for ways how to be better.
We are the most entrepreneur in the world.
Yes, we like to think and be better. And so I'm going to ask you this openly.
Yes.
We are not scamming Ugandans.
Now you see, that question, I had to speak using so many words to try and buy the trust when we were beginning the first 1 year, second year, third year. But as I speak right now, there's so much to speak for us.
There are testimonies.
Thank you very much. Zero Way being one of them.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And how does this help that project now?
And also just to mention, I've been asking people, there's no scam that has lasted more than 2 years. Try me. Google it around the world.
I always have a time frame.
Thank you very much. We are here celebrating 7 years.
And getting stronger.
Absolutely. Okay. And have something to show for it.
Okay. Amazing. Yes. I would like to see how this trust that you built, I would like to see how this project of Zero Way feeds into the new project, the housing project.
Very good.
Which you call?
The With Love Uganda Satellite City Project.
The With Love Uganda Satellite City Project.
Yes.
In all spaces where I've had the word satellite, it is state of the art. I'm not seeing it happening in Uganda. You have to convince me.
Good.
You must convince me. I don't see a satellite city in this country.
And
Alex, tell me about it.
I'll start by saying, by telling you one of the reasons why we called it With Love Uganda.
Yeah.
We want to do projects as With Love Uganda, projects that can compete internationally because we have the ability. Now we need to break the ceiling of our heads of thinking it's impossible. It is very possible, and I'm going to demonstrate for you how. But why we called it With Love Uganda is to do things state of the art. Things that will bring people from around the world to come and say, I want to go to Uganda. I'm inspired by the story in Dubai. I was reading a book for, I think it's called Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum. He is the former, I think, ruler of Dubai. When he was young and they were in a caucus at some point with his fellow people in Dubai, by then he was not yet a ruler, he said he wanted Dubai to be the biggest destination in the whole world. With the biggest population, people flocking Dubai for tourism. In the circle, in his book, he says it was just a break off. You know how you sit just to catch up with friends and colleagues before you go back to the main meeting. And he says one of the ministers burst out laughing. There was a moment of silence, and then one of the ministers burst out laughing and said, Al Maktoum, what do you think? What are people going to come to Dubai to see? A desert? What you want people to come and say, what is there to show people? It broke his heart, but he had a vision.
Yeah.
Do the numbers, do the statistics. Everyone knows now Dubai is the number one world destination.
Mindset.
Absolutely. Starts here.
Mindset.
So with Love Uganda, we want to compete. We want to do projects that can compete internationally because we have the skills.
Okay.
Like we mentioned, when we come together, a different skill set, the engineers, the architects, the Ugandans are intelligent people.
Yes, that's true.
So that's what With Love Uganda is about. When I start that conversation, it's for another.
It's a whole different one. Let's stick to the house, to this land thing, yes, and the housing.
Yes. So as we speak right now, we've already identified and deposited some money on 1,309 acres of land.
What with action?
Good.
Okay.
Yes. So this site is in Mukono. We got land in Mukono.
For those who don't know where Mukono is, yes, what's the distance between Mukono and the city?
Mukono is estimated, it's between 42 to 45 kilometers from CBD to Mukono. Okay. Yeah. So we got this beautiful piece of land. It's beautiful. Oh, I wish many Ugandans can go and have a look.
Oh, yes. I think they will have to visit if they're interested.
Absolutely. So we got this is now 2023. After Zero Way was a bang for us. It was a proof of concept, and we realized this is going to give us the numbers that we're looking for. And while we demonstrate the power that is in the numbers, the mind behind With Love Uganda. So we got 1,000, then we got members of With Love Uganda. We got architects, urban planners, engineers, surveyors, and environmentalists. in that skill set, I think we were only missing one who is probably an urban planner. And the condition was you have to first join.
First join the team.
Absolutely.
You're hijacking people, but it's okay. All right.
First join with Love
okay.
Uganda, yes. These guys sat down and designed a beautiful self-sustaining satellite city in Mukono.
Self-sustaining.
Self-sustaining.
That's very important.
Absolutely. You know, when you Google a satellite city and what it means that you're creating a community, a space that should have all amenities. Someone shouldn't look outside, shouldn't go out to look for a service. They should find it within the community you've created. So that's a definition of a satellite city. So we have restaurants, we have schools, we have hospitals, we have a golf course, we have swimming pools, we have children parks, we have commercial places, we have planned for it all.
And you're planning to do that here?
Absolutely.
In this country?
Very, very much so.
Okay. I'm trying to visualize it.
Yes.
I'm a visual person.
Yes.
I'm trying to put this city in my head.
Yes.
Where I can access everything I want in the same space.
Brilliant.
The acres you've talked about, in my little mathematics, could accommodate about, call it 10,000 people.
Good.
That's a big number of people.
Actually, just to put it in perspective.
Yes.
First, I want to start by correcting you. You said you want to put this here. We are already putting this here.
Okay. All right. Forgive my... because I'm like so many Ghanaians who are still processing if this is a possibility.
Yes.
And so you're also trying to lure me into that space of it is already happening.
It's already happening. It's no longer plans. We are actualizing the plan, the project. So also to put it in perspective, a space that has a space of 1,309 acres, that is slightly above 2 square miles, can house up to 50,000 people. 50,000 human beings.
50,000 people.
Yes.
Do you know how many?
That is meanwhile still comfortable.
Okay, let's do this. I'm trying to process this.
Yes.
And I can assure you there's so many viewers who are also in my same headspace, trying to process this.
Yes.
The possibilities of this and how much power we have as people if we think about our growth and as numbers.
Good.
So 50,000 people in one space. I'm already thinking business opportunities.
Good.
I'm already thinking I don't have to travel so much to go elsewhere and work. I can put everything there. Do we have commercial centers? Do we have... Oh my God. Tell me, how do you now intend to get people in this city?
Good. So to demonstrate, so this is how with Love Uganda works. We're demonstrating the power of numbers, what it means for us to come together. Let me now simplify it for you to answer the question of how are you planning to put 50,000 in one space?
Yes.
So when we got this land, we could only make a small deposit, make a deposit on the land. Then because we used zero as an experience, we now sat down to do the numbers. After the architects, the urban planners did the subdivision, we got about 5,500 plots of land, which directly translate to a human being, to a member. So it means we'll need 5,500 members to take up
the whole city.
Yes.
Okay.
As I speak right now, we are about 1,994 members because of business yesterday, growing every day. Every day it's a new number. So, but our target right now to be able to achieve this satellite city is 5,000 members. All Ugandans who are looking to join us. And this is the model that we're using. So after the architects did a beautiful city, by the way, before I get there, let me tell you, we are proud actually. We are not just selling mere plots, but we're selling addresses.
You're trying to make everything sound so good. It's okay.
Yes.
You're allowed to do that.
I'm not just...
Why addresses and not plots of land? I mean, buy plots of land everywhere.
True. Very good question. So we are... so these people did not just design and do a normal subdivision. Like you would go to a normal real estate company and just go and buy a plot and that's it. For us, we're selling addresses. Why? Because when you are choosing a plot, you also choose the kind of house that is going to sit on that plot. You choose the street that you want to live on. You're able to see the street, how it's going to look like. You're able to choose the plot number. The roads are going to be named. And I will tell you, the smallest road in our satellite city is 12-meter wide road. It's a 12-meter wide road. To put it in perspective, for those who may not understand, our normal roads inside, let's say in residential, are 4-meter wide roads. If you're lucky, you'll find a 6-meter wide road in a residential setting. In With Love Uganda, a residential setting is 12-meter wide road.
Honest truth, my visuals in my head are not helping me. So I am hoping that you will show us these visuals for us to put this project into perspective. So now you have 5,000 Ugandans.
Yes.
They have selected that land that they want.
Yes.
What are you selling?
So how we are pulling this off, like I mentioned, let me actually first, I'm sorry I keep taking
It's okay because we need to understand it well. So it's totally fine.
Very good. So I want to also help the person probably watching this video to say, I'm choosing a plot, I'm choosing a house. And remember, by the way, each plot size, has 7 housing options. No, 50 by 100 has 7 housing options.
Yes.
100 by 100 has 6 housing options. Half an acre has 5 housing options. So you're able to choose. So this means that you have a pool of over 20,000 housing options. So I want to help someone watching to say, but what about the houses? Who has paid for those houses? I want to ask you this question. I want you to ask me
please ask.
honestly. Now it's me asking.
Yes, ask.
How much do you think it will cost you to pay for an architecture plan for a 3-bedroom house?
3.4 to 4 million.
Very good. Very good. You know how much in the model that I'm going to explain right now, how much members are paying for 7 options for 50 by 100, 6 options for 100 by 100, and 5 options for half an acre.
Okay. How much?
20,000
Impossible.
only.
Impossible.
About $6.
Impossible.
That is what we're trying to demonstrate. The power of numbers, the magic in coming together. Now let me tell you how we're doing the satellite city. So after depositing depositing money on the land, we sat down with the vendor and said, look here, this is our model. We are mobilizing 5,000 Ugandans because the plots are 5,500.
Yes.
But our minimum target is 5,000 Ugandans to partake of this. How are we doing this? The plot of 50 by 100, with all the things I've told you, architecture plan, artistic impression, BOQs, land title, and all that, where 50 by 100 is only coming at 7.5 million.
Impossible. I'm sorry, I'll keep saying impossible because I have lived here for so long, Alex.
Good.
No. How is that even possible?
Let me continue.
Please.
For 100 by 100, and I'm answering that question.
Yes.
How is it possible? For 100 by 100, members, the price is 15 million. For half an acre, the price is 30 million.
The value of land in Mukono.
Very good.
At this particular time, does not give you that.
Very good.
So it is only the collective power of numbers that can allow that to happen.
Absolutely.
And that's what With Love Uganda is standing for.
Thank you very much. And to also remember that we are doing this to attract numbers. We're demonstrating. So we're not looking to make money. We're not a real estate company.
Okay.
Yes. So we are looking to, With Love Uganda is about benefiting me and you, us the members. So how are we able to do this? So we are now mobilizing 5,000 Ugandans or members. Of course, you have to first be a member to partake of this. So we're mobilizing 5,000 Ugandans, with each of them paying a minimum of 250,000 shillings per month. Let me first take you back a little. So we've taken our innovation even a step higher, a notch higher. So for a plot of 50 by 100, which is 7.5 million, we're giving members an opportunity to pay 250,000 per month for 2.5 years. Those are 30 months.
For that money, there's an installment plan as well.
Very good.
What is it you're trying to do, Alex? What are you trying to achieve? Because you're making everything affordable and manageable.
We are demonstrating to Ugandans what it means for us to come together. Everything becomes affordable.
And easier.
Exactly.
Okay.
Everything becomes affordable. We just have to take greed out of the picture. And that's what we love.
That's the right word. Take out greed.
Exactly.
And love our neighbors.
Thank you very much. Create an environment that you would love to live in. You know what takes people abroad to the US? Because those people have made their environments. And those environments were also made by human beings, me and you, not the government.
Yeah.
The best thing the government can do is give you peace and security, which we have and we should be grateful for. So all we need to do now is to come together as a people without bringing now politics in the play or religion. And with Love Uganda, we're strictly non-political and non-religious.
We are inclusive.
Exactly.
Let's link this amazing project to the 10K project.
Yes.
How do these work together?
Let me first finish the part of how we are going to pull this off.
It's okay. I'm just getting excited. You forgive me. I'm getting excited that I am skipping. I'm trying to see how we win on all areas.
Brilliant.
Please, let's go back to the city.
Brilliant. So for a 50 by 100, which is 7.5 million, someone is paying 250,000 per month for 30 years. That is 2.5 years.
Isn't that too long? Am I still paying for the house before I go into that house?
Good. Now it's up to you. You can even pay it for a shorter time. So what Love Uganda is doing is to give an opportunity to anyone and everyone who cares to want to be better.
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, we would have said 10 million per cash.
And we start.
Exactly. So we are bringing innovation in whatever we are doing. So the 250,000 per month, and then 100 by 100 people paying 500,000
per month.
Then half an acre people paying 1 million shillings per month. Now, this is the magic.
I always love magic. Let's go.
This is the magic. So we are mobilizing 5,000 Ugandans. People would love to be Ugandans. Now it's even less than that because we already have so many who have
joined. Yeah,
yes.
Of course it is.
So, but the target is to have 5,000 members of With Love Uganda. If you're not a member, you're free to join. And once you join and pay your 10K, you automatically are given an opportunity to partake. Yeah. So now, when you do the math of 250,000, the least person paying 50 by 100, and we have 5,000 members, that's a total of 1,250 million Ugandan shillings.
I think we should take a break because I'm not getting this one. I'm not getting this. I know that the math is clear. I know that it is logical. It just, I don't see it as, because from where I have come from and been born and have seen systems, how they work, this requires meticulous implementation.
Brilliant.
It requires trust, but it also requires commitment.
Brilliant.
A lot of commitment from you as a vision bearer.
Absolutely.
But also from the team that you're working with.
Absolutely.
And this is why I'm going to ask this question. In the event that you do not collect or you even don't get these people on board, what happens? Does this project get aborted?
Good question. Now, when you're doing projects like this,
yes,
you have to think of the worst case scenario. That's why we had to start with a proof of concept, a smaller piece, 120 acres. It was a success. Everything has a risk, like it or not. Waking up in the morning
is a risk.
Driving your car from home.
It's a risk of its own. That's true.
Everything has a risk. But it takes determination, commitment, and the dedication to say that whatever it takes, this must happen. So I have a team, and I'm really proud of my team that is really driving to make sure we hit the numbers. But the people that I work
I
with,
needed that to come out clearly
Yes,
because
yes.
everything you're saying is too personal in terms of people getting involved. It's emotional. They will need to trust someone who's committed, someone
Absolutely.
who's trusted.
Absolutely.
Because these projects, as amazing as they are, they can bring your reputation down.
Absolutely.
I just needed that to be clear, and you saying it yourself.
Let me actually mention this. I like the fact that you've said that. In the beginning, I used to tell people in 2018, I used to tell people that, you see, it doesn't benefit me. And that's where the people who are not trusted lose sight. They think that they want quick wins. Cheat Adelle, do quick things. Let me steal your money. Let me do a shady business with you. So I just look at, in Uganda we have what we call mere ya lero. I just look at quick wins. I don't think about the bigger picture. And then you find these people driving a tinted car because they don't want to be seen. Now, by the time you're mobilizing 1 million people, now we are, like I mentioned, we are over 1,900. But also for people to get to those volumes, they should have seen something.
That's true.
I want to be the kind of person who still drops my child in my nice car. I've driven nice cars from when I started driving. Yeah. I still want to drive my nice
Without
car,
hiding yourself.
without hiding. And I meet members and we're still excited. Now, in the beginning, but also it's one thing to just say the words, the way I've said them, but it's another to put it in action. So we've taken it a notch higher. You see the 10,000 project that we're talking about, we even refund people's money. If we tell you, if you've been a member with Love Uganda for 2 years and you feel it's not working for you, it's not my thing, you're free to fill in an exit form.
And that was my next question, because I will join with Love Uganda.
Yes.
I will join the 5,000 people to buy the property, the plot or the address.
Yes.
And at some point, I'm no longer interested.
Good.
Am I able to get my money back?
110%. That is the pride that we have. That's the confidence that I have, the systems that I have set, that people should be able to trust this. So now, even from the 10K, 2 years, and you feel it's not working for me, fill a form, we shall give you back your money. Satellite City, if you've jumped on the program to owning the plot of land, and you're paying, let's say, 250 for 50 by 100 or 500 for 100 by 100, and a year down the road, you feel like, no, it's not for me, or you feel it's a bit shaky, we refund your money.
Are you sure?
110%. And those are the agreements that members are signing.
And I was going to ask you that.
Yes.
The agreements in place,
Yes.
they are security to ensure that I am protected even if I've paid this money.
So from your first deposit of 250, 500, or $1 million, depending on the size of land you're taking, you come to the office and sign a sales agreement, which you take home. The only thing we shall charge you is 5% management fees, should you want to withdraw. Let's say I moved a year and your
Because your money has been being managed. So you should pay it.
Absolutely.
You should pay it.
And there's a cost also withdrawing the money. There's been a cost to run the things we do, which we've already percentaged in that installment. But the total is only 5%. So let me put it in perspective.
Yeah.
If you've paid 3 million, you're paying for a plot of land and you've gotten to 3 million, 5% of 3 million is 160,000.
Okay. Alex, I am amazed, I am overwhelmed, I am everything. Just to understand clearly and to give a clear picture to all our viewers, the project land has been bought or has been deposited on, the houses have been designed. Now you come and just choose from the blueprint.
Absolutely.
And start your payment, or you can choose to pay it at once. The choice is yours, and you work with the sales agreement, but you must partake in the 10K project.
Good.
Kindly link that for me so that we can see how that works together.
I love that. Brilliant. So, like I mentioned, with Love Uganda, we were starting with 2 projects.
Yes.
When you say with Love Uganda, the 10K project has to come in hand. So it's with Love Uganda, the 10,000 project. So that is our main focus. So like to take you back, we're starting with a hospital, then housing. But then we realized we had to be innovative. We realized we're not growing as fast. So we brought in the housing. Now, for you to be able to come, because these are the hanging fruits that we are creating.
That's true.
We're creating hanging fruits to attract people to come and join with Love Uganda, but the condition is to pay the 10,000 shillings.
The condition is the 10,000 shillings.
Absolutely.
Amazing. I think we have consumed so much. I am overwhelmed. We deserve a break. Let's take a short break.
Join with Love Uganda today with only 10,000 shillings.
Siringi mutwalo zonyene.
Alibaba keken.
Omutwalo gumu gwonka.
Aliptereto.
Omutwalo gumu gwonka.
Alipketi yarabachi.
Elifa parkende.
Omutwalo gumu gwokka.
With Love Uganda, unlocking our potential.
Welcome back from the break. I personally, as Adele, I needed this break because there was so much information. It was an overload. I needed to absorb it for me to come back fresh. So welcome back. And now, Alex, while I was on a break, I had some thoughts. You talked about the road being 12 meter.
Yes, meters wide, yes.
And I'm thinking in my context as a Ugandan, that is not possible. What does that mean? That's one of the questions I have. And then I also want to understand the satellite city in the planning perspective, what that also means to me as a Ugandan.
Good question. So I'll start with the last question to answer
Yes.
next year. You see, why we call it a satellite city? A satellite city, by all definitions and standards, is supposed to be an urban space with modern facilities, but super planned. To put it for you for better understanding, I'll paint a picture of our normal society in Kampala or wherever you stay. You wake up and build a beautiful home. It's peace and quiet. Let me use the example of Bulindo, Chanja. You know, built there probably 5 years ago. It was peace and quiet, green and everything. Nice home. Then 5 years after, someone who's selling Manda, Chako. I'm not saying it's a bad business.
Yes.
But just comes and sits right in front of your gate. And so your first drive out, you're looking at.
Yeah.
Then your immediate neighbor, an open space that was not developed, someone puts up a church. So goes your peace and quiet. You cannot sleep anymore on a Sunday. Friday overnights, I go.
I have a friend who's going through the same thing right now.
Exactly.
My question is, how then does Satellite City solve that?
Good question. So that's what we're solving as with Love Uganda. Like I said, we pride in saying in the solutions business. That's why we said let's do a satellite city. So it is super planned. We have strict residential areas, even in the agreements when you're signing. So we're actually not looking for anyone just to join. You should join and buy into the vision, understand what you're trying to achieve. Yeah, because we'll find ways of kicking you out.
I always say, if you're going to join anything and your values do not align, and your beliefs do not align, you're going to be an inconvenience
Very good.
to that space or to those people in that space.
Brilliant. So for us, we've planned it. We have residential, we have recreational spaces, we have commercial places. We've already even allocated space for churches, mosques, washing bays, markets. Space is already.
So are you saying I can't use my house for business?
Not at all. If you are, by the way, that's a very good question.
Yes, I might want to use my house for business.
Good. So because there are people who are saying, I want to buy and use it for Airbnb.
Okay.
You know? So we have created space for commercial places, and we are guiding members who think that I want to turn this into a commercial space after. Because it's one thing to build your home, and then 10 years down the road, you're saying, you know what? I want it to do business. I want it for business. So such members, we are encouraging them to buy plots around the commercials.
Okay.
So that it's easy. So
You don't inconvenience the residentials.
Very good.
Okay, I hear you, but I can bake my cakes in my house and deliver them elsewhere. Okay, all right. And then,
And why? Sorry.
and then this feeds into why I brought in the commercial element. Also the roads is an element of commercial in it, but also I think it's still big.
Good, good. Like I said, we are with Love Uganda.
You're loving us. Okay.
We are loving on ourselves.
Yes.
However, why 12-meter wide roads is we are also creating jogging lanes, cycling lanes. We also want you to be able to jog in the city without worrying that the border is going to knock me a sec. No, we want you to jog, feel comfortable, be happy. So we are creating that space for jogging, cycling, but also we don't want electrical wires and fiber cables running over our houses. No, we're going underground. I am happy.
You thought about every detail.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm happy NSF has done that with Lubowa. The electricity wires and fiber cables are underground. So that is good. So that's what we're also doing. We had already planned for that as well. So that's why we have 12-meter wide roads.
That's amazing.
Yes.
And the green, because that green has to be it.
That is a given. Actually, it's a green satellite city. Yes, that's why we had to bring in an environmentalist on board. And he has done an amazing job. And so in every space, in a few blocks, we have a green space for children to play, a green park where you can just walk and relax your mind. So for every few blocks, there's a green space.
And what does this mean in timelines?
Good. In how we're going to achieve this project?
Yes, timelines.
Good. Before we go there, also, we're not doing perimeter long walls. No.
But Ugandans, we like hiding ourselves.
Uh-huh.
I'm not one who you don't change mindset as well?
We are hiding ourselves because of the insecurity, unfortunately. Also, I like what our current permanent secretary of finance said. He said, Uganda is a country where the rich and the poor don't sleep. The rich gets money, builds a beautiful home, but covers it in a big perimeter wall. Why?
Yes.
And then on the perimeter wall, he puts electrical wires. Then he has a dog. He has a security guard with a gun. So he has killed the beauty of his beautiful house. But why is he doing all that? He's protecting himself
From the other one.
from the poor man who says, how do I go over this wall to get some of what this man has? So you are a rich man, you're sleeping with all this security, dog, guard, perimeter wall, electric wall on the... But when you hear something banging on you...
You wake up.
You wake...
Is that the reality we are in?
Absolutely.
So how does this resonate with us in terms of security in the satellite city?
Good. So we have controlled entrances. We're going to put a huge perimeter wall on our entire
piece of land.
piece of land.
Okay.
Then we are going to have controlled entrances. Actually, we have 3 planned. So that you just don't come in. We're going to have cards for each one. For each residence, you have a card.
Alex, where are you benchmarking this from? This is too much.
And you see, what actually disappoints me is these things have been done in the first worlds many hundred years ago.
And we're just jumping on the bandwagon right now.
Exactly.
So the 3 entrances,
Yeah, so the 3 entrances, so it's going to be security and manned. So you don't need a perimeter wall. You just have a boundary, maybe green space, something that will keep...
So how do you control us inside in the city? Do you know how our character is? Anyway, that's a whole security thing.
Yes.
Because you're having almost 50,000 people. We have different ways of thinking and doing things. That's a whole thing to think about as well.
But before you leave it, let me just mention a statement. When you go to the first world, just go to Dubai. I'm marketing them. I hope one day they pay me. But just go to Dubai. It will be very hard for you to see a security officer, even from the airport entrance. Do you even know that this is a soldier, a policeman? You won't see a gun. Because
there's stringent rules and then there are repercussions to breaking those rules.
And do you know how they monitor to make sure no one breaks the rules?
The systems.
Good. The cameras are everywhere.
And that's the same thing you're projecting for the satellite city.
Absolutely. And by the way, these are already being done even from private homes. You know that Ugandans right now, you can even hear what you're saying from outside. Already that is done. So all we will do is just replicate in the entire plan. Already planned, but now replicate that in our satellite city.
Okay. So we have good security.
Yes.
We have good roads, and those who are jogging and trying to stay healthy, this is a place to be. We have the planned housing, it means that you cannot just put any structure in
Absolutely.
the satellite city. It is planned, it is organized. We have all amenities, it is self-sustaining.
Absolutely.
That's a place to live. What other timelines? What have you planned? Because
Good.
everything without a timeline is a waste of time.
Absolutely. So we've set a target. We've phased this project into two. The first phase is enabling 5,500 Ugandans, members of It Love Uganda, to own plots, to become landowners. That's the installment program. And that phase is only running for 2.5 years. However, we've given it 3 years because we're going to have members who are going to jump in a little bit later. We're going to have those that will jump in on time, but probably studying their payments here and there. So we've given it a 3-year plan. Then 2028 is when we phase the construction, and we're also going to do it collectively. That is the plan, collective effort. So let me tell you a bit of the construction. So how we want to do 2028 is me and the members that we have in the committees and the different projects that we've set up for the satellite city. We are going to now look for partnerships with companies like roofings, the companies that do mass production of construction material. We're going to look for companies like Hima, Toro Cement that do cement, Plascon, all these companies that we want to partner with, and tell them that, look here, we have landowners. 5,500 members have landowners, and it's planned, the housing is already there. But we want to identify, out of the 5,500, we want to identify 1,000 members who'd be willing
To start.
Exactly. And we also want to do that in a very affordable and convenient way. So members will also pay in installments. So the second phase, once we identify those partnerships, we now want to look for a financer. So we have a model that we've always spoken about from inception that we call the renting to own model. So these are now rough estimates. We're roughly thinking that if we got at least 1,000 members, with each paying a minimum of between 600 to 1.5 Ugandan shillings per month, you get a financer who has financial muscle. We've already partnered with the companies that do mass production of construction material. They construct the houses for the willing, 1,000 or slightly more, depending on the members that will be willing. Now, so that the renting to own is they put the house as per plan on your piece of land, and then you start paying between 600 to 1.5 per month for
While
15
living
years.
in the house.
While living in the house.
Hmm.
Yes.
Isn't that a good retirement plan?
Absolutely.
You're living in a beautiful city. Your retirement can be so amazing if it gets to that.
Exactly. Because
And for the people who are thinking 2028 is so far, it's actually not.
absolutely.
It's just 3 years from now.
Absolutely. 3 years from now. And you see why we had to come up with that model is because very many young people are renting.
Yeah.
And they're paying colossal sums of money per
That's
month.
true.
When you do the math, at the end of, even though you rent that house or apartment for 10, 15 years, that house will never be yours.
You will have to get out at some point.
Absolutely. There's no landlord who will be kind enough to even tell you, okay, fix the doors and windows. You've been a very good tenant.
Okay, you're now becoming a bit harsh, but it's okay. You see, also these things are good to wake us up. The reality of it,
Absolutely.
that it doesn't matter how long you rent, you will have to move.
Absolutely.
And you move away with nothing. The way you found the house, even you'll have to make it better before you leave.
Absolutely.
So how about you live in your own and pay its rent and then you own it?
Absolutely.
Amazing. So Alex, as we conclude this satellite city, which is so good, link it for me to the 10K project.
Good question. So so the 10,000, many were asking, so what is the 10,000 doing then? Because now the land I'm paying 250, 500 or 1 million shillings a month. What about the 10,000? Now remember we have land for the hospital in Zimbabwe, and I said we are starting the hospital project next month of February. So February 2025. So the 10,000 is what is going to base the hospital. How? you look at our target. Remember, zero, like I mentioned, gave us 100. The people who bought were 117, but it gave us 315 new members. Our proof of concept. Now, Mukono, we wanted to give us 15,000 members. That's the goal that we have. Not all are going to buy land because the plots are limited, but because of the many opportunities and the many Ugandans that are going to join after or within the time, looking to the next satellite city after we've done Mukono, will also be many. So we are targeting it to give us 15,000 members, but you do the math of 15,000 times 10,000 shillings. I'll make it quick for you.
150
Good. That is 150 million shillings
a month.
a month in collections. That money is going to build.
The hospital.
When we are done with the hospital, we are going to invest in many other things.
And when we're done in the hospital, you become a hospital shareholder.
Absolutely. We cannot call it shareholding.
Because that needs to be clear.
Exactly.
If I'm paying for the hospital from the beginning, am I a shareholder, Alex?
Good question. So, because of our style of registration, which was informed by our lawyers in inception, we are registered as a non-profit organization limited by guarantee.
Okay.
So we cannot call them shares, but we are members, the membership fee. But we have benefits that come with the membership. Yeah. I'll mention and say, people ask, what is an organization limited by guarantee? What does that mean? So an organization limited by guarantee means that the source of funding of this organization comes from the member contributions, which is our 10,000. Very good. So that 10,000 is what we are using now as capital investment. Then while we are investing, the opportunities that come with the investment are the benefits that we're going to get as members. Yes.
Okay. I'm sure that there'll be other people who have those questions, but I'm sure they will come back to us and we get to answer them.
Absolutely.
So you cannot partake in the satellite city without you being a with Love Uganda member.
Yes.
That has to be clear.
No negotiation, no question
about that.
Yes.
So you must be a member of With Love Uganda.
Yes.
I am a member. I have joined. I can't afford to buy the land. I already have housing. I don't need possibly the housing in Mukono. What other benefit is there for me?
Good. Good. Now we have so many benefits, but there's this outstanding one that I can't live without mentioning. We have many, those, the beauty is we have orientation meetings every month. New members are able to ask as many questions, so they're able to know the benefits. Of course, we mentioned many: employment, business, networking, opportunities from within the bigger family. Already people are benefiting and reaping in millions from With Love Uganda. Those are many benefits. But there's this one outstanding that we called the With Love Uganda per life policy.
Per life policy?
Yes.
That sounds like insurance.
Good.
Are you also into insurance?
No.
So what is it? What is it, Alex? You're not a land broker. You're not a real estate company. You're not an insurance company, but you're offering all these things.
Good.
Okay, let's hear more.
Like I mentioned, we said we are in the solutions business. We are here to find solutions for our people in our means. Solutions that are crafted, that are made for us to be able to afford, you know? Yeah, so, and that's where we need to go. And I'm really, really proud about With Love Uganda. Because now the per life policy, it's not an insurance, we're not an insurance company, or are we offering insurance to Ugandans? It is, but you can relate it to an insurance product, but custom made for With Love Uganda members.
Okay, how does that work?
Good. So, and this is what informs how I came about with Pearl Life. First of all, the name, the Pearl of Africa. You know, so it's Pearl Life.
Live a beautiful life
Live
in the Pearl of Africa.
Very good. I like that. So, how it came about is we lost, when we had just hit about 1,000 members, we lost a member, unfortunately, to cancer. I'll never forget that lady. I think she's Katushabe. We were about 1,000 members, and we mobilized. We said, guys, there should be a benefit of belonging in such a big family, in such unfortunate events of death, and critical illness. When we lost Katushabe, this was I think it was in 2022. Yes, we had just finished Zimbabwe, and now we're 1,000 members, a little above. We've mobilized. I told members, I said, guys, we are now 1,000 members. If we each gave just 10,000 shillings, just 10,000 shillings as condolences to the family of our beloved member who has passed, and a few of us go to bury, and we go with a bag, and we say, the deceased was a member of Love Uganda. Do you know how much that was going to be? 1,000 members, each paying 10K, is 10 million shillings. You come with pride to say, guys, this is 10 million to give out to a member. Fast forward, I think we only collected either 2 million or 2.5, because we lost 2 other members in between. But we collected, in the members that passed away, we collected between 1.8, the maximum we collected was about 2.5 million, which was not bad, because also remember, while you have, and it's also a culture, Ugandan culture, the giving culture. When someone passes away, we contribute, even for weddings and all these things. So, but you also have to know that it's not a must that everyone will give the 10.
That's true.
They might want to give, but they don't have the 10,000 of them in the moment. And remember, you only have a window of about a day or two to collect condolences. So collect about 1.8 to 2.5. So I had to think. I said, you know what? We cannot keep this up. First of all, we're also running a risk. People are getting tired. We joined with Love Uganda because of 10,000 project, but now members are fasting. Sometimes as a human being,
I know.
the selfishness comes in.
I know.
So now we're always collecting. People are dying. Now it has changed from 10,000 project to a Magugo.
I know. It gets that insensitive at some point.
Exactly. So I had to think outside the box and said, look, we're in the solutions business. What can we do to put a fund that can be there for such incidences? Well, we also don't collect, but it's immediate. Yeah. And that's what informs the Pan Life policy.
Okay.
Yes. How it works is very simple. Still the magic of numbers. Still the magic of numbers.
Let's go through. I like to hear the numbers.
Yes.
Let's hear the numbers. They'll make more sense that way.
Absolutely. So how Pan Life works is we now deduct 24,000 of each member's account. Yeah.
Every year?
Every year. Once a year, just 24,000.
24,000.
Yes.
That's how much a month?
1,000 shillings. Oh, 2,000 shillings.
2,000 shillings.
A month.
Yeah.
Yes. So we introduced that. So members pay it either at the beginning. You're free to pay it within a member, but every member knows that at the beginning of a financial year, for example, now next year, January 2026, or this year. But for this year, we deducted because this Par Life started in October of 2024. So now we deducted the 24,000. Now the 24,000 is split into two. 12,000 goes to operational costs, running the day-to-day of the organization, or paying office space and a few staff. Then the 12,000 now goes to, for a lack of a better word, your insurance as a member. It's a benevolent fund, actually. Mm-hmm. But that 12,000 covers critical illness and the eventualities of death. Yeah. When you pass away, we should be able to come and bury you, but also give something to the family. Now, how it works is we break it down to monthly. You've paid it annually, but it's broken down to monthly. So it means to Par Life, you're paid 1,000 shillings per month for your insurance. Now, but that 1,000, do the numbers. It means each member at whatever point every month is covered by 1,000 shillings. So 1,000 times the number of members that we are. I'll use the simplest example of yesterday. We closed the day at 1,990 members. When you do that times 1,000 shillings, that's 1.9 million. Roll it over to 2,000 because I can assure you by close of business today, we shall be 2,000 members plus.
That's 2 million.
Exactly. So it means every month we are collecting 2 million shillings from each member. Do the numbers times the 12 months. Yeah. So the 12K. So now joining, I want to bring this in clear before I do the mathematics. Yeah. So this means that when a member is joining, initially you just pay 10,000 and you're a member with Love Uganda. Now it's not. You have to pay 34,000. So that when you join today and tomorrow anything happens to you, you're covered. Exactly. Now this brings in the question of how do you pay out? How are we all equal? Exactly. So now, actually, before I say the payout, let me tell you the magic. Let me show you the magic in Pi Life.
I'm waiting for it.
Yes. So remember I said that we are targeting, the satellite city is supposed to give us 15,000 people.
Yes.
When you do 15,000 times 1,000 shillings, that is 15 million shillings per member, but that is at the highest level of platinum. I'll explain that. However, the ultimate goal is 1 million members.
No, that would be too much money.
Aha. So when you do 1 million members times 1,000 shillings, we are looking at a fund of 1 billion shillings in collections per month.
But Alex, not people, not that people would die every month. No. If we don't die, if we don't get sick, what happens to that money?
Good. Now, before I answer that, let me first tell you how the payout structure.
Okay, please. I'm getting too excited.
Then I'll answer the. But if I don't,
What if no calamity happens?
Good. And that's the uniqueness of Pi Life.
Okay.
Yes. In fact, let me mention it now. So the uniqueness of Pi Life is we are saying 20 years down the road, because it covers critical illness and death. Should you not fall critically ill as a member? And remember, because of the demographics, the biggest number of our members are very young people. Yeah. So should you take 20 years without, and even by the way, the old people, our life expectancy has gone to what, 61 now?
Yeah, it's higher than that.
Exactly. So 61, you're still very alive and kicking. 20 years, you'll still be alive. That is at 80.
Yes.
I just buried my grandfather last month, December, and he was 110 years.
And now people are living healthy. They are
Absolutely.
jogging. They are eating well. It means that we are most going to likely to live up to 8 years.
His brother who gave a speech, his younger brother, was 98 years. My grandmother was about 90 something years. So at 60, our life expectancy, 20 more years, even though you joined now, we'll have Uganda be 60. You'll still enjoy the uniqueness of Pi Life, which is, we are saying, if you've been in 20 years of being a member, you've not fallen sick, critically ill, and you've not died, you have the liberty to withdraw up to 50% of the sum assured now in the insurance language. Yeah, to bring it home. You're free to withdraw 50% of that amount. In 20 years, I can guarantee you we shall be 1 million members. I can say that for sure. That translates to 500 million shillings.
I'm feeling sorry for you because if the pace keeps at where it is,
Yes.
whatever you're doing outside with Love Uganda, you're going to stop it. You and your family and whoever it is. Because this, by God's grace, it can be a monster.
Absolutely.
And it requires hands-on.
Absolutely.
And because it speaks to human emotion, human health, it means that it means something to people.
Absolutely. So do you see what we are doing, Adelle?
I see this.
We are creating capital for people, for members of Love Uganda in 20 years. So if your child right now is a kindergarten going student, pupil, or a primary pupil, even though they're in secondary right now, in 20 years, they have capital of 500 million.
Both my sons are joining. Good. So that's each person works on 500. Because 20 years to them is like They are still young. They are vibrant.
Thank you very much.
And in 20 years, I'm almost 55 or so. Still alive as well.
Absolutely. I'm so alive.
So this, Alex, I think, forget about the satellite city. I think for me, this is the real deal
Brilliant.
because it speaks to health.
Brilliant.
And we cannot build the city if we are not
Yeah.
healthy and thriving. Okay, so now we have these hanging fruits that are amazing. We have the Pearl, we have the Pearl Life, we have the Satellite City, all feeding into the 10K project. But you have all these brilliant business people around you. The classifications we talked about at the beginning. You have lawyers, you have doctors, you have bankers, you have architects, you have everyone. What are you using this human resource for? Because that's very big.
Good. Now that is the beauty and the magic in the numbers, because you tap onto these minds. Because you see, I am a bit of vision bearer. Yes, I come up with these ideas, with these mind blowing things. But before we make it policy, I run it by these skilled people. Yeah, in their different skills. I talk to the doctors, I talk to the lawyers, I talk to the guys in insurance. Does this make sense for you? We do a few analysis here and there, and it's amazing. Everyone just gets blown away. They get blown away. But we also have something for the business members.
Tell me about it.
Let me first wind up for you Pearl Life.
Yes.
Then I go to the business. Now, for Pearl Life, this is how we are structuring the payout. So you see, when you join with Love Uganda, we have 5 membership categories. We have ordinary, we have bronze, we have silver, gold, and platinum. At your point of entry, you become an ordinary member. There's no difference in the premiums we pay. We all pay 10,000 shillings a month. You pay more than that, it is allowed, but it's broken down into future months. Yeah, because you have members who say, I don't want to pay 10K is little. I want to pay for a year. I want to pay for 2 years. I want to pay for 5 years. It is allowed, but broken down into 10,000 per month. So when you join with your first 10,000, so the 34,000 is split. 24 goes to Pearl Life and Operations, then the 10 goes to your account as a member. So once you pay your first 34, you become an ordinary member. Then when you've been a member paying 10,000 religiously for 2 years, you automatically grow into bronze membership. Then the 3rd year, you automatically go into silver membership. Between silver and gold, we put a lapse of 2 more years, so you grow into gold. And then the ultimate, the ones who walk on the red carpet,
The platinum.
are the platinum members. Yes.
Okay.
So platinum means you've been a member for 8 years and above. Or in this case, you're paid ahead. But now we're beginning our 8th year journey in 5 months from now. So this is how Pearl Life works. When you're an ordinary member, you qualify to get 20% of that money. Should anything happen to you, you've joined today, you paid 34,000, and tomorrow something happens to you, you get 20% of the fund. How it's calculated, like I said, is if you are 2,000 members and you've paid your 34,000, or you're an ordinary member staggering between, you're not yet bronze, so it means an ordinary you've paid first 10,000 to 240,000, and something happens to you, you get 20% of 2 million. I'm using the example of when we've hit 2,000 members. Now, 2% of 2 million is about 200,000? Yes, about 400,000. But your contribution is just maximum 240. But a platinum member gets 100% of the sum assured. Yes. So a bronze member gets 40%, silver member gets 60%, gold member gets 80%, then platinum gets 100%.
So membership actually means something in this space.
Exactly. So you don't just pay 10,000 and relax.
Yes, you
It will affect
you
you.
will stay in the ordinary level if you don't move.
Good. Let me give you a hint. I don't know if I'm allowed, but I'll give a hint because we're still doing a study on this with the people that you've spoken about. And this is the magic of Love Uganda. We are creating value where there was no value.
Okay.
Now, we want to start learning. We are doing systems this is now a hint. It's not as though it started.
Yes.
Because later we want to also do a bank, but we want to start it using per life. How? We want to give members value to be able to borrow against your per life. Let me use this as an example. So if we remember the satellite city is targeting 15,000 people, a platinum member will be worth 15 million.
Yes.
This I'm now mentioning real quick, but people can go and verify the mathematics. So 1,000 shillings times 15,000 people, that's 15 million. If you are a platinum member, you're worth 15 million. If you are a gold member, 80% of that, you're worth 12 million. 60% a silver member is worth 9 million. A bronze member, 40% is worth 6 million. An ordinary member who has just joined is worth 3 million. You've just joined, but you're worth already 3 million. If we hit our target of the satellite city, and we are going to. Now, we want you, Adele, if you're a member, to be able to borrow against your per life. So that if you're worth 9 million, you borrow, let's say, up to 5 million. School fees is here. We're in January. People are struggling to find school fees. Let them borrow that money at a very
Small interest.
Thank you very much.
Because I was going to ask you, so you have all this money. Why are you putting it? Are you putting it in trust funds? Are you putting it in? Because also money that doesn't grow is useless money.
So
Yeah, because money must multiply.
Now, do you see that we're going to be able to pay you 50%?
That's true.
After
You're going to
20
be
years?
able to pay $1 billion because I told you I'm going to bring my 2 boys.
Brilliant. So we are creating value. We are growing the fund through lending you.
Yeah.
We are growing the fund, but also giving you direct value as a member.
Yeah. Giving you something to hope for, to hold on to.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Should you fail to pay your installment,
What happened?
the bigger picture dies.
That's true.
You see? You eliminate yourself.
Indeed, this is with Love Uganda.
Yeah.
And I need to talk to the audience a bit. If this that Alex is telling us is going to be actualized, we need all of you on board.
Absolutely.
We need the power, the collective power of people to bring this to life.
Absolutely.
And from what you are saying, there's a lot of love in it. I think it would give you so much joy seeing it come to life.
Oh, God. Already the joy.
It would give you so much joy seeing it coming to life.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then all these things must feed into business. Tell me the business angle.
Good. Now, this is with Love Uganda. We are, because you see, when I just started business as well, I did business administration, majored in accounting at MOBS, Makerere University Business School. So I've always loved business. But I've realized that young people, where will they get the opportunity to win big contracts? To construct roads. You see, the big roads are being constructed by Turkish companies, Chinese companies. You know, they're the ones doing the business. We're doing a lot of importation. Who is supporting the young person or the young business that wants to grow a product? How are they going to get capital? First of all, we've addressed the question of capital.
We've addressed, yes, that one. Yes, we've addressed it.
Yes. But with Love Uganda, we also want to be able to grow you. We want to be intentional in the members that are in business.
Supporting your own members to be better people.
That one is a given. But we also want to support them to the point of certification. What are you trying to do? Are you trying to grow a product? What's the difficulty? You see, we have a lot of power, bargaining, collective effort. There's a lot of bargaining power and collective effort. We want to get to levels where we have members in manufacturing who are trying to do a product. How many are you? Can we go and negotiate with UNBS and say, guys, these members want certification, but they don't have money for certification. What will it take? Can we combine maybe 10 products and they contribute little money and we bring them to you?
So
a certification.
You're literally stepping in to give a helping hand to the businesses using the power of negotiation and numbers.
Brilliant.
Because then that makes sense as to a businessman.
Exactly.
And then when you speak to my heart in the business space, I'm able to keep the With Love Uganda channel going.
Good.
How smart are you? Because it's all looks so good from the top to now. And now I want to understand. and this is very critical for me,
Mm.
this whole chain of things we've talked about,
Mm.
we've come to the business hub as well.
Mm.
It feels like a philanthropist kind of element, like
Mm.
with Love Uganda is giving more love
Mm.
to the people it works with.
Absolutely.
But there's something you kept saying,
Mm.
members. All these benefits are for members.
Strictly. No
Can
question.
we emphasize that enough? That you will not
Absolutely.
partake in any of this unless you remember.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because we are, what informs with Love Uganda is the magic in the numbers. So we must focus on the members that have believed in this dream.
Okay.
By the way, even, let me take it in notion, even in the point of accounting, because members are struggling. You see, we are creating a wider tax base. URA is struggling to hit targets to collect money, but because so many people are informal, members are in informal sector, but you don't blame them. They have very little capital.
That's true.
So what is with Love Uganda doing? Like I say, we're in the solutions business. We want to identify the small businesses that are struggling, band them up together. What are you doing? What's your value of your capital? Then identify an Adele who is an accountant and say, Adele, these young businesses want to formalize their books of accounts. You're an accountant. How do you help 15, 20 members? They can probably each contribute this amount of money per month. Adele is happy as an accountant. The members are having the solution as they're growing their businesses to formalize their books. URA benefits because once
A better Uganda. That takes me to the big picture. You have literally moved me from what I was thinking about to the big picture.
Absolutely.
Why Uganda? Why don't you take this print as here to another country and thrive from there without struggling with us Ugandans? Why us?
East or West?
Hobbies best.
Absolutely.
And
So we're creating a business hub. We are creating a business hub, but redefining it to be more intentional in the things that I've mentioned. If you're a lawyer, what fee can these people contribute? You know, to give you a lawyer, to give them attention, to legalize the businesses. How do we get them registered? Because all this that we're doing, we are trying to refine, we're trying to create. Remember, one of our core values as Youth Love Uganda is excellence. We don't negotiate on that. So we want to be able to grow a business to a level that can satisfy the 1 million member market. This guy is growing, he's getting money, good money out of the 1 million people. I keep telling people that mention whatever you do. If you have a market, a family of 1 million people, and you just get 0.01%.
That's it. And if you get a piece of, even if, let's say 1%,
Yes.
and it's loyal,
Yes.
and it is standard, you will never be a poor man.
Thank you very much.
You'll never be a poor man.
So that's what we're doing.
So what I'm loving about this with Love Uganda thing is that it is holistic.
Yes.
It's holistic. It touches the human health. It goes back to our heart, which is housing, because we need to have people to have habitable and affordable housing. It comes back and touches our health again, but also our beneficiaries and all those things that are attached to it.
Brilliant.
It goes to the business, because for this to be sustainable, it needs thriving businesses and happy people.
Absolutely.
One question I need you to answer.
Yes.
So I am a member. I have joined with my little boys that we're going to join after here.
Brilliant.
Then what happens if I'm no longer there? Is there documentation to put this together that I was a member of Love Uganda and these are the benefits, next of kin kind of thing? I am so sure many people have that question.
Yes. True. You've answered it actually. We have a next of kin. So when you join, we send you a KYC form. Once you pay 10,000, we already have a system. You're able to know your new member. Then the office follows you up. You get a KYC form. But now we're working on a new system. We're hoping that before our AGM in February 2025, the new system is going to be out. That's what we're working with. We're really pushing. So the new system is when you join, you're going to be able to feed in this information. And one of the fields is your next of kin or beneficiary. So that in case you pass away, we're going to also create a bit of a will for you. Tell us, how do you want us to treat? Do you want us to give your next of kin should take over all your benefits? Should we pay out far life to them and then that ends, all that? But we are taking care of, when you pass away, this should be inherited by your next of kin.
You have thought about everything, haven't you?
Yes.
That's all about with Love Uganda. So as we conclude this conversation, it's a very powerful conversation. It's going to take so much for people have to come back. You have to come back and revisit it over and over for you to understand the dream
Yes.
that Mr. Alex Mwine is telling us today. Just give us and look at the viewers and tell them, what is that one shot? What is that parting shot that you want to leave them to remember before they make that decision to join with Love Uganda?
Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you, Adele. I just want to speak to the people who are not yet members of Love Uganda, to tell them that you can never do it alone. You can never, unless you want to live an average life.
Yeah.
But if you want to win in this life, it has to be collective effort. With Love Uganda gives you more than that. Gives you a family of people, gives you a network, helps you grow your business, protects you is there for you in times of critical illness and death, is there for your children, is looking after your children for the next 20 years. If you don't join with Love Uganda, if nothing of that answers your question in this life, I can't add a word.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a brilliant conversation. This is my takeaway. You're not an island. You need help. And there are so many people in the world that can help. But then there is something that is more powerful, the power of numbers. Coming together can change lives. Something you think is so big, it's a mountain, is dissolved in a second by the power of numbers. I hope and I pray that you get to listen to this conversation over and over again, share with a friend, tell a friend to make sure you're not too late to join with Love Uganda, because the doors are going to close. See you soon.
Actually, Adele, just before you close, just to tell the people, whoever is not yet a member, try it 3 years. Join with Love Uganda for only 3 years. If it doesn't work for you, exit. We shall give you back your money.
You had it from Alex. Have a good time. Bye-bye.